Supporters of suspended lawmaker representing Borno South, Senator Aline Dume, shut down the main gate of the National Assembly on Tuesday. And TVC News National Assembly correspondent Somna Sambo reports that they were demanding an unconditional reversal of the senator's suspension.
It's 9 a.m. and workers, parliamentarians and visitors heading for the National Assembly approach the complex only to find the gates blocked by protesters.
It's been a tough time here for the police and security services at the National Assembly main gate. They are here trying to contain this surging crowd.
The protesting crowd keeps growing as they make their demands for the immediate reversal of Senator Aline Dume's suspension through a 10-point prayer.
I want them to bring back our senator very recently now.
Senator.
Yes, sir. Mohamed Ali Dume Gwaske.
I'm here because of the injustice of Senate. What is the injustice? The injustice they suspended Dume without no genuine reason. We want Dume to be back.
And we don't want Saraki.
And we don't want Saraki.
Yes. I'm here because of my Senator Dume. Why they remove it without any reason? And we don't want Saraki for that seat.
If he did misbehave or commit wrong, he should be given room, not just automatic suspension. For 6 months, the suspension will extend to us. With the masses that he represents have no voice for the next 6 months. As far as we are concerned, millions of people now will be denied a voice.
The gates remain barricaded and no one comes out to attend to the protesters, who maintain that Senator Ndume was unjustly suspended for 6 months. They describe the procedures for Ndume's suspension as vindictive, asking Senate President Bukola Saraki to urge his colleagues to reverse the suspension or risk an impeachment.
These protesters from the Southern Borno Senatorial District say unless their Senator Aline Dume is brought back into the Senate chambers from the 6-month suspension slammed on him, they will not leave the National Assembly premises. Now, one of their demands here is that they strongly condemn in very strong terms the injustices meted on their representative, Senator Aline Dume, saying that the National Assembly is gradually become a home of impunity. They say all the things that had been done to him are not compared to that done by other senators, and they wonder why he was slammed a 6 months suspension. Now they say unless the senator is called back from this suspension, they will remain here at the entrance to the National Assembly complex. Somna Sambo, TVC News, Abuja.
Right, and joining us now is a social commentator, Smart Akbejoye.
I'm sure I got that correct. Yes, that's
correct. Yeah, glad to have you join us.
Thank you.
This issue came up before.
Yeah.
During Dino Melaye's case.
Yeah.
He took the House of Reps to court. He won. All his entitlements were paid back to him within that period. Now, one keeps wondering in our system, this is a precedent. Shouldn't that have counted in the actions taken by the Senate as to whether they should or not?
Good one.
That is suspended.
We still have we have a case pending, and that is the case of the whistleblower in the House of Rep. The guy has been Jubril has been on suspension, and nobody is saying anything about it, which is also wrong. In the first place, in law, precedent is an acceptable evidence before a law court. They've been a precedent that, look, if there have been a judgment that has not been overturned, then it becomes an evidence. So at any point you are doing that, that could be referred to, like in the case of Dino Melaye and the House of Representatives and 10 others. And because the court made it very clear that, look, you cannot suspend a member for this long, whatever, they reverse the case. I think that should have been standing, that, look, whenever they are having an issue, you cannot suspend. And if you think you have to punish any of the lawmakers or any serving senator or an House of Rep member, then there must be a precedent. Perhaps you will probably amend your standing order. But this has been taken up. You will also recollect that Dr. Saraki's father was also suspended sometime when he was there.
Olusola
Saraki was suspended. and he came up and said, look, this was illegal. However, Nzeribe was also suspended. So it's not the first time.
Yeah.
But going straight, I'll probably want to narrow it down to the issue at hand, Ali Ndume's suspension. Is it justified or not?
That's the question.
That's the question. As far as I'm concerned, Ali Ndume's suspension is illegal. And why do I say this? Ali Ndume, a distinguished senator, felt that, look, I read this online, which we all read. And you know, like any bad case, any bad story will spread very wide. And the moment we do is that we start to throw accusation at the Senate. He just felt that, okay, they have said this guy that one of, or even two of us, which is the president, our president here, is involved in a vehicle that's underpaid task, the duty to the custom. And because of that, the vehicle was intercepted. And they even have letterhead of the Senate, not the letterhead of the Senate president, but letter written from the Senate asking that that vehicle should be released, blah, 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 blah. We don't want to go into that. And this guy brought it up and said, okay, we want to look at this. Can we also look at this, that was this vehicle approved for? Who owns this vehicle? Mr. President, the Senate President, we heard it is you. So can you please explain yourself? And we should investigate this so that they don't accuse us of doing a wrong trend. On the issue of Dino Melaye, it was a case of Sahara reporter saying, the Sahara reporter did not say Dino Melaye did not attend Ahmadu Bello University.
But that he did not graduate.
That he did not graduate from Ahmadu Bello University. Yeah. So can we also investigate this? So when they now came up with this, Ali Ndume, like every other Nigerian, like a distinguished senator, said, okay, we must investigate these two cases. And he brought it before the House, before the General Assembly. And within yourself, unanimously, you all agreed that, yes, let us investigate this. Ali Ndume has not heard.
So in this case, Ali Ndume is just simply the fall guy. But let's even backtrack a little. Since 1999, the Senate, the general public perception of the National Assembly, especially the Senate, has not been a very good one. You know, it's either corruption, self-serving. They're not doing anything, or they're doing everything else except actually make laws. Now, where does this really stem from? Is it that, do we just have negative views about politicians in general, or is this self-inflicted by the Senate?
Well, it's not self-inflicted by the Senate, it is self-inflicted by the Nigerian Constitution.
How do you mean?
In the first place, when Sanusi, now the Emir of Kano, the Emir of Kano, made up an allegation that, look, Nigeria cannot afford the current system of government that we are running. He said, look, 25% of our budget is being spent
on the National
Assembly. They came up, said so many things, and of course, at the end of the day, being a controversial person that he is, and always coming out to say the way he likes it, not minding that he's a public officer, we knew how he was eased out of government before finally he became the Emir of Kano. However, are we supposed to have both the House of Rep and the Senate doing almost the same thing? You ask me, by my perception, no is the answer. We're just supposed to have one. Because you find out that the Senate will legislate on an issue today, and the next time they are bringing, the House of Rep is also doing that. That is duplication.
But some would tell you, for a population of 170 million Nigerians, you need enough representation as possible. And this is bicameral. This is bicameral.
We'll probably look at the House of Rep. The House of Rep is more closer because the House of Rep, they are representing maybe 2 from every local government.
Yes.
Maybe 2 from every local government.
From events,
yeah,
people are saying that they seem to be more matured, because in developed climes, in quote, people who get into the Senate are usually elderly men.
And referred to as distinguished.
You know. But now, let's still talk about, take this Ali Ndume issue a little bit further. According to reports, the Senate intended to discuss, from the placards. Let me talk about the issue of the placards. just read out some of the things that, you know, the people who are protesting, you know, had. Yeah, you know. Who is afraid of Ibrahim Magu? Stop undermining PMB, the president. Saraki is a curse. So apparently Ndume was not even the only issue. They're angry at so many things. You know that, of course, the Senate rejected Magu, and then, so...
Well, you see, if we talk about the issue of the Senate rejecting Magu, we will come back to the Senate. You see, it's unfortunate that we have the Senate that we have presently, and it saddens my heart that it's like there is no end in sight. First, my view on Magu, I go by the Senate. I will support the Senate. Do you know why?
Why?
The law prescribes that Mr. President will appoint a chairman to the EFCC board in an acting capacity until it is confirmed by the Senate. Where it is not confirmed, the guy will act until it is confirmed by the Senate. Where it is not confirmed by the Senate, then it ceases to be the EFCC chairman.
But that's not what some of the lawyers,
said.
He can still keep acting.
For as long as
it stays, for the 4 years it stays.
For the 4 years it stays.
That's what the law says. According to some other
I'm not too sure of that aspect of the law.
Well, then it
because in the first place, look, it is logical that, look, if you are acting, and the moment they now say, okay, you are to be confirmed, and the moment you're not confirmed, then somebody else should come in.
But then again, there is the aspect, hold on, there is the aspect where if the Senate does not confirm, maybe for reasons best known to them, maybe there's some information that they're not privy to, and they say, look, we cannot confirm this gentleman or lady. Go back and do your homework, Mr. President. And he comes back, represents the person, and then the Senate confirms. Now
you will realize that Magu has appeared before the Senate twice, and he has been
once.
No.
The first one, he didn't, but they didn't give him audience.
There was no audience.
Because, I mean, they said DSS.
DSS
the one he really appeared was the one, you know.
But you see, at least to go by the record, Magu, in the first place, the Senate have said no. Go back. The Senate set up a committee. They now, based on that committee's report, they now turned it back again to the Senate, said, okay, this time around, I think we are sure that this guy will scale through. And it was good enough. They showed him before the old whatever. We watched all the proceeding, and Magu was rejected again. However, you see, that is not the point where we want. Where they say the executive perhaps could have put their house in order. Said, look, the DSS is under Mr. President. 1 minute. The DSS is under Mr. President. The EFCC is under Mr. President. Before Mr. President will forward this report to the Senate, they should have gotten a clearance from the DSS. Said, look, I want to appoint this person. Please, can you give me a background check?
But the presidency said, look, Magu has been clear.
Actually, the secretary to the
DSS?
No, the PCSC, Corruption Committee.
Yeah, that's
all right. We don't have all the time. Thank you. Major, we would have taken you a little bit further. But thank you very much, by the way, for sharing with us your thoughts on TVC Breakfast.